Start video transmission.
Ooh, we ran it up on Tennessee, boy.
Who?
73-43.
Oh
Gator basketball, baby.
yeah.
That's a big
Uh,
weekend.
welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is Monday Night Raw on a Tuesday. Uh,
Club going up.
oh, that's what we'll call it. Club going up on a Tuesday. Man, we just at this point we have lives. We have jobs. We have lives. We have kids, families. Sometimes we got to finish up. We can't pod till 3 and 4 in the morning anymore. We did that a couple times, and we had a realization that hey, 4 o'clock in the morning podding it without getting paid is just not gonna happen.
Bruh.
Now y'all pay us to get on at
And it's
4 in
like,
the morning. I'll be there bright and
and
early.
I will quit my employer. But until then, you get it when we give it to you. Pause if applicable. With
Ooh.
that said, we love to bring you what you need in a relatively and reasonably timely manner, as me and Reggie are in our mid 30s. I think I
Me?
can say that for a little bit longer.
No, you
Hey man,
can't.
relax. God, Reggie, you don't have to tell them everything. With that said, my body don't allow me to stay up 2, 3
My
o'clock in the
body
morning
is
feeling illegal.
weary. When you start using words like
Man,
weary and they actually apply, that's when you like, ooh, ooh. Let me go ahead and get the score. So the Hawks are playing. We started off hot. We're playing the Jazz. So you're going to see and hear, for those that are listening, 65-62 at halftime. We started out hot. We were winning, and then something has happened. I didn't get a chance to watch all of it, but we will definitely
well,
keep y'all.
there are there are a couple things that have happened. Laurie Marketing is 7-11, 5-7 from three, has 24 points. He is cooking our
24.
ass.
Oh, so it's just him.
Um, yes. No, this is the other thing. Patty Mills came in. Well, he cooled off. He started out like 3 of 3, and then he went for three. He went for like 3 of 3 from three. Now
And
he's
then
three of
he
nine. So
3 of
he's kind
9.
of cooled off. Yes. But Laurie Marketing is doing his best DeAndre Hunter impression. He has 24 points, 1 rebound, 1 block, 1 foul. I'm
Hunter has
jacking him.
cooled off. He is well. I mean, he's 2 for 4 now. He's had a bad stretch,
Yeah.
man. But big Zach, dog, Zachary Ricochet, and we'll get there when we talk about the Hawks talk. But Zachary Ricochet may be my favorite Hawk right now. I love Jalen Johnson. He probably is, of course, the best player on our team. But I like the way that the rookie is actually playing. And I'm gonna say this. I just noticed it today. I've noticed it a while ago, but I didn't pay attention to how fast he was. He can get up and down the court in like 3
Oh
strides.
yeah.
Like from
Right.
the paint to mid court to the free throw line, it's normally like 3.5 strides. It's kind of crazy. He can move.
He's
Um,
6'8". If he ever
he's taller
gets
than
that
6'8".
shot to fall, well, ESPN says he's 6'8". But if that shot falls with any regularity, oh y'all can give it up now. It's a lot of y'all midders. He gonna zoom past y'all because he doesn't play stupid basketball. Let's get to
Mm-hmm.
it though.
All
Where
right,
we
man. So
starting?
first we're gonna start out with AJ DeBansa. So backstory on AJ DeBansa. AJ DeBansa is the number one ranked high school prospect in the nation. He is from Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken, and then he
Correct.
transferred out to Utah to go to prep school out there. Um, and now he's known as being the guy that signed the $7 million NIL deal with to go to BYU. Who I believe that makes him the
And
highest ranked
he's from
athlete to
Brockton, Massachusetts. Brockton,
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, Brockton. He's the highest ranked athlete in the history of BYU. I can tell you that, and I don't even have to look it up. They ain't never had a number one nothing at BYU, including Jim McMahon and Steve Young. AJ DeBansa is that guy. What's interesting about it, um, had an interesting road to where he is now, and it all works out. So AJ DeBansa, basically, he did 8th grade twice. Uh-oh.
I'm here.
Lord, okay.
I'm rocking
He
with you.
based he basically did 8th grade twice. Um, Not because he had to, but because he and his team and his parents and his family decided that he wasn't ready to go to high school yet. And so he stayed in 8th grade, and he basically got a mulligan year. And then he went to high school, and his body was more developed, and he was able to almost dominate from the get go. The thing that makes this even more interesting is, yeah, he did 8th grade twice, but then he reclassified from the class of originally his class of 225. He did 8th grade twice, so he became class of 2026. So he's basically an old high schooler if he were to stay next year. But he reclassified to this year to catch back up with his grade, and he's still the number one player in the nation. Talk about finessing the system.
How do you feel about this? Because I'm going to be Grumpy Gus.
This is something that is gaining a lot of notoriety now, but football has been doing it for a long time. Alabama, Georgia, all SEC schools now with the early enrollment, a lot of players were staying back. You played against them. They stay in 8th grade. They stay in 8th grade extra year. They start low or they start late or whatever, and then they enroll early in college. So then they're kind of caught back up. It's just jugging the system. I mean, he got $7 million out of it. I'm not mad. I mean, he just jugged the system. I mean, he didn't play against anybody that he wasn't supposed to play against. I mean, I don't have no problem with it.
I hate this. I hate everything about this, and I'll tell you why I hate it. The first part I hate is that 8th grade to 9th grade jump is important to me. I think that's where you get your first set of like real humility, where you go from being the dominant 8th grader to like, oh, I have to put these people on notice that I'm the man now as a freshman. I remember I grew up, I played against a guy in Mac as a freshman. He let everybody know. He was the original Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Yes, I'm in 9th grade. I'll outshoot everybody on this team. You get in this gym with me, I'm gonna outshoot you. So for him to like be an 8th grader and be like, and not like the other part about this, I just think about the education portion. So instead of going to 9th grade, you just went back to 8th grade. Then you do 9th, 10th, 11th grade. So you don't have a 12th grade. There's a point in there where there's a grade that's not there anymore from the way that you did this.
At that, I mean, he reclassified, but the only
What you
way that
mean?
the only way you can reclassify is if you satisfy your requirements. So I mean, he doesn't have the physical 12th grade year, but he's completed all of his requirements. I'm assuming he probably went to summer school. And that's just part of it. High school is basically college, and college is basically pro at this point.
I don't like this at all. And maybe it's just me. I think that especially as a person who my dad wouldn't even let me play in the county that I was in because he didn't like the competition. He made me play with the people who look like us, not the people who look like them. And that's always just been the way that I was raised is, hey, you play your competition, you win, you lose, you lose. But to repeat 8th grade because you're not good enough at basketball is crazy to me.
Lowndes County, Valdosta, Roswell, Parkview,
I
Brookwood, they
hate them
all
people
do it.
too.
They
I
all
hate
do
them
it.
people.
And
I
they end up
hate them
being Jeff
people.
Francoeur, and they be amazing, and they end up going to the pros, and they're like, oh my God, he's been good since 9th grade. Well, yeah, I mean, he was 15, 16. So,
Right.
but I mean,
I'm in there doing pre-algebra and he back in 8th grade again.
oh,
You
you
back
sound,
in middle school running it back. Bro, that's
yeah, but
weird.
it's par for the course. And again, I also don't know. This may be like the guy that interviewed to be a waiter at Hooters, and they basically told him no, you're not Hooters material, and he sued for discrimination and won. You can only do that once.
Bro, first of all, I'm gonna just tell you, repeating the 8th grade. What do you even do if you pass the 8th grade? You just like, hey, I'm back.
Yeah.
What?
You can. I mean, parents can ask for their kids to get held back. I mean, it's a maturity thing. It just happens. There's no difference when you hold a kid back or start a kid late. It's the same thing for maturity.
And he was probably already 6'4" too in 8th grade. Now he's just tall. I don't like this.
You are Grumpy Gus. You are Grumpy Gus.
Yeah.
It worked out.
You get your ass in 9th grade.
It worked out. I mean, he did exactly. He still graduated with his class, and is going to be a lottery pick. I don't know if he'll be the number 1 pick, but he'll be a lottery pick of that draft. So, and he got paid $7 million. I said, I'll go back for. I knew I was going to get $7 million.
That's the part. Well, this works for him, but in large, this is not cool. Y'all repeating the 8th grade is not cool. Not when I was growing up. That's not the thing. Oh yeah, you gonna do the 8th grade again?
Yeah, I mean,
for what?
Again,
it's a different time, though. It's a different era.
No, it's not. I'll tell you, this happens in football all the time. This happened in football all the time.
Hey, bro, if you back in 8th grade again and we all going to 9th grade, we going to 9th grade. I guess I see you seeing you. That boy been with you since kindergarten to 8th grade. Then he go back to 8th grade. Then decide to graduate. Y'all graduate at the same time. But that's crazy.
I mean, you're going to see him your 10th grade year, his 9th grade year, because he's going to be starting varsity. And he's going to be that guy. No. So, I mean, sure.
That's like reclassifying and play middle school football again. First of all, I think you should only have 3 years. That's
literally what they're doing. It's the exact same thing. That's what I can tell you.
You should only have 3 years of middle school eligibility, dog. You can't be doing middle school 4 years, dog. Not playing football. If you need to do 4 years, then you need to not be doing sports. You need to focus on them books.
Focus on them books.
What you doing? I'm just doing 8th grade again so I can get good at basketball. What?
I mean, that's essentially what it is, right?
That's weird to me. I'm Grumpy Gus.
You sound like it. For sure. You for sure sound like it.
Hey, y'all better get $8 million if y'all gonna repeat 8th grade. Let me tell you that much, or they gonna laugh at you.
Well, I mean, they probably laughed at him. But I mean, the way that they're also talking, he was so good that you knew he was gonna be a problem. I mean, he's been good. It's not like he's been bad and he just kind of came out of nowhere. He's been good like since he's been in high school, which means he was good in middle school.
So then go to okay, move on. The Hawks. The Hawks are in a dogfight with the Utah Jazz, 72-70 in the third quarter with 9 minutes and 24 seconds left. I am concerned about this game because Utah is not very good and they're missing multiple top 7 players. Probably top 5 players, honestly. And we're only up by 2 points.
Well, I guess I'm ahead of you. So, with that being said, let's jump straight into Trouble in Paradise is what I call this segment. A whole lot of people look like they're about to be traded at the trade deadline. One thing about the NBA, well, possibly, it's a lot of mess going on at the trade deadline. One thing that you do have is Jimmy trade. Saw that 3. Jimmy requested a trade. He basically, and we saw we saw that coming, as he basically told everybody at the press conference after the game before his 7-game suspension that he does not have the joy of playing basketball anymore in Miami, even though Pat Riley came out there and said that This is false. They're not going to trade him. I wonder where Jimmy ends up. What's your thoughts on this, and where does he end up?
Well, at first, on his face, I look at this and think to myself, here we go, Jimmy Butler, unhappy again. But then when you kind of take a deeper look at it, Jimmy carried this team for 2 years, took them to the finals, and the Heat really haven't done anything to help him out.
They got him
Bam
Bam
is
and said,
cool,
figure it out.
but Bam was there first, right? When Bam, yeah, Bam was there first. Jimmy Butler got there. The only real addition they even attempted to make, which we all said from day one was a terrible addition, was Kyle Lowry. Miami hasn't done really much to help Jimmy get over the hump, and Jimmy puts his team on his back every night. So I can understand his frustrations of, yo, I'm running out of time. And instead of you helping me out, you just put more pressure on me and don't give me any more help. And I mean, we have to be real. Bam is good, but Bam isn't really a superstar. And Jimmy needs something better than Bam. And I think that Bam has probably played out of position his entire career, or he just haven't had enough help in the front court. One of the two.
I think it's his part of it is they didn't get him a lot of help and he carried them. And then the second part is everybody else around you. Well, not everybody. A lot of teams around you have gotten better. Boston has made moves every year to get better. New York
Right.
has made moves. That's your rival. When you think about 90s basketball, New York, Miami, 2000s basketball was it. New York gotten better.
Orlando.
I was getting there.
Orlando is the one that's the one that
Orlando.
put the pressure.
The
That's
the
in your state. They came right on around the corner and just said, I mean, they did the same thing to us and said, hey, man, we're the young kids on the block. We came here to knock y'all off. And Jimmy is looking like, hey, get me some help. All of their whole team is like 6'8" and better. Dribble, pass, and shoot.
Cleveland has passed them. Uh,
Oh,
and
zoom.
so he's getting older. He's looking around. He's seeing all of these other teams get better and younger. And I mean, at this point, they struggle with the Hawks, and the Hawks we have been the definition of mid. Like we have
Right.
literally been in the middle of the Eastern Conference every year.
And,
So
and they have always kind of bullied us. So you're right. Like right now, we're 18-18. They're 17-17. I mean, the Bulls is right there on their back.
and Jimmy's not for that. And one thing Jimmy's not gonna do is waste any time. He's gonna if you're not gonna do it, he's gonna make it known that he's ready to go.
Jimmy's trying to win perpetually, and the Heat are trying to. They really trying to do him bad. They know that nobody else has the cap space to sign him, so they're just really trying to get him to come back at a reduced rate. I mean, some of it is just business. You got to ask that you're not going to negotiate against yourself, but the one thing that Jimmy can do is set your team on fire, and that's what he's done.
Also, you see, I don't know if y'all, for those that are listening, I'm going to describe this. For those that are watching, I'm highlighting where we got this post from. It says via Shams Charania. Shams replaced Woj at ESPN. He has been really good and actually has rivaled Woj for the past few years as dropping NBA insider information. I want to say almost 2 months ago. It might have been November, might have been October. November, December. Shams dropped a tweet and said Jimmy Butler will request a trade. He is not happy. I'm hearing that he's about to leave. Miami is blah, 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 blah. He basically called this. Jimmy Butler's agent went on a thread and basically had a whole conversation with himself on Twitter and bashed Shams and said, yo, show me your sources. Your sources are trash. You're wrong. That's a lie. And called him amateur and insulted him professionally. Mighty quiet now that this has come out.
Well, I mean,
Privately or publicly? I'm all for if you do something publicly, if you admonish somebody publicly and you're wrong, you should apologize publicly. But you owe Shams
But
an apology.
if what it sounds like to me, and of course, this is all speculation,
One of
is the
the
Heat and Jimmy had a private conversation, and then the Heat leaked the information to Shams, and
yeah,
Jimmy
it was a
his team
tool.
was like, "Bro, yeah." So yeah,
That
if you're
probably
gonna
was the
try
end of
to,
it. Now that you talk about it, if you say it that way,
yeah,
that was the end of the. You could probably match that up too.
right, yo, we had a private conversation, and whatever the conversation was, you leaked the conversation to Shams, then yeah, I'm gonna deny until I die. And also, I want out now. And that's the reason it goes from I want out and I want to go to X, Y, and Z to I want out and I want to be away from all of you.
And I'll go anywhere.
Because you're like, yeah, now I can't trust you. And Pat Riley has a history of running off their number one. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's the thing with him. And yeah, that's why this situation is probably untenable now. But just like in many other situations, when you know that this guy has to get out, you now you trade for peanuts. And Pat Riley don't want to trade for peanuts, but what does that do? What does that do for Bam? What does that do for Kevin Love? Kevin Love got a chip though, so it's a little different. Bam is just like, oh, I just got to sit here and go play hard every day for what? Jimmy's not coming here. Like Jimmy's not, and you know Jimmy's gonna make everybody miserable because so you're actually doing two people bad.
Yeah, yeah. Bam is gonna end up somewhere that's gonna piss everybody off. He's although Pat
Jimmy,
Riley's, huh? No, I know Jimmy
Jimmy,
going. Jimmy, they gonna do Jimmy bad. They gonna send Jimmy to Utah. Like they gonna do Jimmy bad. But Bam, they may try to build around Bam. But I mean, I don't necessarily see that.
if I'm Bam, I want out too. Honestly,
And that's what I'm saying. And Bam may end now if he tries to force his way out. Pat Riley is so vindictive. I do think that he'll send him anywhere. But Bam makes anybody a
if
contender. Any team that you add Bam to right now, they become any team that's right now in the playoff hunt becomes a contender. Really, even not in the playoff hunt. Any team.
right, but I think that Bam is gonna play this on the, when your sibling get in trouble, so you try to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, bro, I ain't gonna get into what y'all got going on. I see the writing on the wall. Y'all ready to go in a different direction. Just help me. If you help me get to a good situation, I'll make my part easy for you. But I see that with this what we're doing now, it ain't gonna work for us. And I've been here and I've been a good soldier. I hope that means something in our relationship. That's up to Pat Riley. But also, Pat Riley, if you continuously do this to people
Yeah.
ain't gonna go to Miami now.
It'll be the end of your regime. They'll usher you out. I mean, they'll retire your jersey. They'll give you, they won't usher you out, but they'll basically send you out to pasture. And the corporate way that they send you out to pasture, strip you of all of your duties, all of your responsibilities, and all of your power.
Oh, Bam, have a seat. Bam, have a seat.
Yeah, 40
34
million,
million,
right?
37
Yeah,
million, 50. No, no,
yeah.
no, 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 no,
He
no,
got
no.
that extension.
Listen. 34 million. No, listen. 34 million, 37 million, 51, basically 52 million, 56 million, 60 million. You're a Miami Heat player, dog.
Yeah, they got you. They got you.
I ain't paying you $60 million, Bam, in 2028, 2029. You smoking dope.
Ooh, well, let me ask you this question. Since we here, speculate, and because we got, I'll try not to let this go on too long. But they are starting to look at expansion franchises. Expansion franchises in Las Vegas. Bam has a reason to want to go to Las Vegas. I can say now. I don't know if they do the expansion draft like they used to, where you pick a player off of.
Yeah, it's gonna be you elect the players who are, yeah.
I can see that happening.
That's a salary dump for sure. And I like Bam, but I ain't paying him 50.
But you also risk of
He
not getting anything back if you do that. I think you only get a compensatory pick.
cap space. Cap space. Just jettison him. I'm gonna tell you right now. He getting paid 34 million this year, 37 million next year. After that, this contract is terrible.
even
Moving
with the jump
on
in salary cap.
from don't care. Give me the money to spend on a better player. There'll be new players by then.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I'm good
Well,
on Bam. That's a salary dump for me for sure.
not my problem. We gonna see what the Heat do. It is what it is. Y'all built this. You are a product of your decisions. I have literally lived through that all football season, so I stand by it. So it is what it is. Another of your decisions. The Phoenix Suns are basically at a crossroads. They have the highest salaried uh, roster. They have 3 players that make 40, $50 million, somewhere in there, between 40 and $60 million a year. One of them is Bradley Beal, who we said we didn't understand that addition when they made it. They could have made so many more additions except for Bradley Beal. Now it seems that the Phoenix Suns, one, are benching Bradley Beal. They benched Yusuf Nurkic, which means they're trying to keep them healthy because they're both of them are injury prone, in my opinion, because they're trying to break this up and actually break up this big three of Booker, Durant, and Beal. And I think Beal will end up being sent somewhere else.
Yeah, so for this situation is a little bit more nuanced to me. They started building this team pre-second apron rules. So they were kind of on the old rules of as long as you can pay it, you can do it. Then they changed it to the second apron where you can't aggregate salaries, you start losing draft picks, you do all those things, and that's essentially old NBA versus new NBA. So the strategy has changed to kind of have some parity. So you just can't buy your way into a championship like Golden State did, just like we'll just pay the tax. So now they could have done some things to mitigate this and they didn't. So they do have some responsibility. And once again, the overarching thing about this whole podcast has been leadership. You get your new owner, Matt Ishbia, who is Mr. Rocket Mortgages, and he's built this massive business outside of sports. So he just doubles down. When you have a guy in James Jones who is a very good GM, extremely knowledgeable basketball player, and executive who was going in a different direction, and Ishbia just kind of pulled the trigger, and he's made these moves, and now these moves have put you in a really bad situation, and now this team is in a pretty bad way with no real future. And Bradley Beal holds all the chips because he has the no trade clause.
Yeah, so you bring up leadership. The thing about this with the Bradley Beal thing is apparently there's a lack of communication going on between the player, the coach, and the organization. So Bradley Beal is basically saying he said he will reportedly waive his no trade clause for the Lakers, Heat, or Nuggets, right? So if he were waived his no trade clause for the Heat, you would assume based on salaries that Jimmy would be the one coming back to that team. I don't know if that makes a big difference, but it is what it is. The thing is, Bradley Beal has come out and said they ain't telling me nothing. So I hold all the cards, so they got to come speak to me. He said that yesterday. So I don't know how this gets fixed. I don't know. Well, I mean, I do know how it gets fixed. They're gonna break it up, but I don't know. We're in a league in an era of sports where the players have a lot of power now. The no trade clause, the ability to hold out, the ability to basically flex their muscle allows them to dictate where they want to go unless you deal with somebody like Pat Riley who don't care. I'll sink the whole ship before I let you take advantage of me. I don't know where Bill ends up. I don't know what
So
teams
I'm going
can
to say this.
absorb that unless I don't know what teams can absorb that.
My thing with this is, and I think Coach Bud is the head coach there. If you bench a player, have the conversation. Bradley Beal's been an NBA star, superstar, however you want to define him. He's always been a starter. He probably ain't not started since probably ever in his life. You're gonna put him on the bench, and you want people to act like men. Then you have that conversation when you make that decision, not game time. Hey, you're gonna be on the bench. You're creating more of a problem. And let's be real here. That's what kind of blew this situation up originally was coaches and players not getting along back when it was Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton. At a certain point, you got to figure out what's going on in Phoenix where we can't operate on a way where we can at least get along. Perpetual turmoil is not good for a business for sure.
And you picking sides. When you in the DeAndre Ayton thing, you pick Ayton side. And then in here,
Not really. You got jettison both of them. Honestly, it's just like,
oh yeah, they kind of, you're right. They
and
kind
I
of
think,
just clean the slate. So
which I don't think was the right answer either. I think that Monty Williams should have
yeah, it
stayed.
was
And Ayton should have
foolish.
gone, especially.
What? Absolutely,
Yeah. You
absolutely.
know
You
what
still
though?
could
I'm
have
really
got
happy because
KD.
Monty got all that money and he coaching his sons play basketball now. I think he probably happier than ever. Like no pressure. I get it. Massive checks coming to the crib every day, and I ain't got to do nothing. Stay black and die.
And live. Uh,
Right.
so you had the Phoenix Suns. I, I, I don't know what's gonna happen with them. I would love to see what happens with KD because KD also is gonna be the guy that said, "Hey, nah, I ain't signed up to be one or two man army." And Devin Booker, if you lose both of them, Devin Booker's out. He's not gonna play the same, have the same issue over and over again. But move on from there. Cam Whitmore. Now this is intriguing. Cam Whitmore, the Rockets. The Rockets uh, have not played Cam Whitmore. He's expressed frustration and confusion when asked what he needs to do to get more minutes. Ime Udoka has not allowed him into the rotation, or he has not worked his way into the rotation, however you want to look at it. When he does get in, he makes explosive plays literally every single time he gets in the game. He dunks on somebody, he steals the ball, a crazy block, a step back three, or whatever it is. He does it. If they do let him go, I would love to find a place for him somewhere on the Hawks.
I'm gonna tell you that's the reason that this is important to me. Two guys that I'm intrigued in that I would love to have on the Atlanta Hawks: Cam Whitmore of the Houston Rockets and Amani Bates of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Two wings. Amani, I think, will be an elite shooter. Cam Whitmore is the aggressive, slashing wing. If y'all can't find a place for him, then I got a place for him. With that being said, the Rockets have a couple moves I think they need to make. Fred VanVleet, I said since day one, they should have never taken him. They should have got James Harden, and they have proven me to be 100% right. And also, Dylan Brooks is probably time for you to go to. Just because, and it's
Yeah.
not that Dylan's not a good basketball player. It's just that Amen Thompson has taken your spot, bro. You can go now.
I mean, you could put Amen Thompson
You
at
can
the
go now.
three and leave Dylan Brooks at the two.
No, Jalen Green at the two.
Oh yeah, Dylan Brooks, you out of there. Them robots, Amen and Asar.
Right.
Is it Asar?
And don't forget when healthy, Jabari will be the four. And you still got Tari Eason and Cam Whitmore on the bench. It's just no place for Dylan. The old people got to go in this case. The young guys have played. They're playing well. That's where it's kind of tough on Cam Whitmore is I really just don't have a spot to play you because Dylan Brooks is here. Dylan Brooks is really eating his minutes.
But I mean, Dylan Brooks, and yeah, if you're gonna flip him, you get rid of Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet. Dennis Schroeder would have been a great addition. He was trying to be traded. I don't know of any other point guards that are on the block right now, on the trading block that you could go get. I don't know, because if you're gonna get rid of Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, you would assume that you want something back in return, somebody that can facilitate in return.
Yeah, you need that's what they need. They need a facilitator, and they need to get rid of Dylan Brooks. Especially James Harden made such more sense here than Fred VanVleet. Just
Yep. 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 But
very interesting storyline to watch to keep your eyes on.
I'm
Where we
only
going
interested because
next?
I'm selfish. I'm trying to see what the Hawks who can the Hawks get. Can we facilitate? Because I see some with so many teams in cap hell that and uninterested players that don't want to be on a team trying to get traded. Damn, they took the lead. Uh, I see like extravagant trades. I see like 3-team trades. I see stupid stuff like, well, we just saw it: 3, 4, 4, 5, 6 first, second round picks. All those crazy trades you're starting to see, and I can't wait to see that. But I am interested to see what Hawks, um, what the Hawks do.
I mean, you got to ask yourself with a Kungwu who just can't get into the lineup. Do you trade him? Hunter has
Yes,
increased his value. Once again, this is Hunter's value has been high as it's ever been. This is my time to sell,
so
and
Hunter.
everybody is looking for a yeah. And I mean, because at one point the market wasn't there. Right now, you probably get a haul back for Hunter, a decent haul at least, and then Bogey. Everybody's looking for it. Everybody needs one more shooter, and he's a little long in the tooth. What can you get back for him? You want to trade assets when their value is high. Don't let them devalue again like the Hawks have done it so many times, and then you just end up giving people away and not getting any return on your investment, which is not the answer.
Hunter will be difficult because you don't want to trade him, right? I mean, he's having a career year, but he's having a career year, and if you don't trade him, you have to resign him, and you're going to end up resigning him for probably starter money, right? And if you resign, but he's flourished off the bench, so he either would have to give you a discount, or you have to pay him starter money and then start and bring him off the bench like Ricochet, and start Ricochet, which
Uh,
he's on a rookie contract, ain't the worst thing in the world.
no, you got this year, next year, and the year after on Hunter on a team friendly deal.
Oh, you keep
21,
Hunter,
23, 24.
huh? Oh, well then,
What I'm
yeah. Then if you're gonna keep Hunter, then I would. You got to package Bogey and Okongwu. You package Bogey and Okongwu to try to get a center, a Miles Turner. No, they're not gonna give you that. Well, no, they're not gonna give you that because they're not gonna give you that.
no, you try to get. I assume you try to get like a Michael Porter Jr. type of guy. I just don't know where he will go. Oh, I guess he would go into the Hunter spot. But yeah, the Michael Porter Jr.
Oh, you talking about trading Hunter? I was talking
That
about trading Bogey.
no, I mean no. Bogey, no, Joker wants Bogey on that team for sure. Remember they played whatchamacallit? They're both from Serbia.
Mm-hmm.
They're close friends.
Mm-hmm.
And they need a backup center. A Kungwu will be perfect.
So do we.
Michael
We
Porter
need a
Jr.
center back though.
You would probably have to move. You would have to have Larry Nance Jr. be your backup center.
So then you would have off the bench would be
And
Ricochet
then
and Hunter. That would be your, which I mean, that's the 3 and 4. Who would be your backup 2? Buffkin's out for the year. Garrison Matthews and Veet when Jalen Johnson comes back. I mean, that's a stat. I mean, I can see it. Hunter, and Ricochet off the benches would be. I mean, they would have the greenest of lights. I mean, greenest of lights. You still need
yeah.
a facilitator, but that doesn't answer our backup point guard issue, which we still need.
Yeah, that's a different situation that we just have to find a way. There's not going to be one magic wand, boom, and now the Hawks are now that team either. You're going to have to make two different moves, I think. But the point guard situation is deathly. We have to have that. At any point where Trey goes down, we out.
We're out because Trey right now is leading the league as he's leading the league in assists per game at 12 assists per game. He's also leading the league in total assists, if I'm not mistaken, at 407 total assists through week 11. He's to the point now. He's finally playing good basketball to a certain extent. He trusts his teammates more. But when he goes out the game, I love Veet. Veet does it about as good as he possibly can do. Veet is one of those diamonds in the rough that he's going to play above his level, but his level really ain't that high, right? But when Trey goes out the game, we are stagnant. We don't do anything. Like, it's all one-on-one, which is why Hunter flourishes to a certain extent. But we need that the bench, and the thing is the bench players are really good, and they want to be cohesive, but we need somebody to bring it all together. And we just don't have that. But Trey is balling right now.
You need D'Angelo Russell on a buyout. That's the other thing we need.
That wouldn't be fair. Why would he come to Atlanta? If they buy him out, why would he go to?
Because you can come here and not have any pressure, and you might be able to. You could probably in games. Him and Trey can play on the floor at the same time.
Him, Trey, and Dyson, and Jalen, and Capella.
Hunter.
No. Take Dyson off the
Capella. Yeah. Depending on what I need. If I need offense, I'm gonna put D'Angelo out there. Let him shoot it. If we need defense, Dyson is out there to end the game. Just depends on what you need. And if we have to take Trey off the floor and play defense, at least we can put D'Angelo out there, who's a bigger body.
No, D'Angelo just as bad as Trey on defense. But I do like the D'Angelo. I like the D'Angelo buyout for a backup point guard if he were to come to Atlanta. That would be fantastic. Trey looks like he's
everybody's not also going to be interested in D'Angelo because the Lakers stench is on him now.
Any that would be stupid. Any team that has a lack of backup point guard that's contending, I mean, he could go to Philly,
Miami,
Atlanta.
Why would you go to Philly? I mean,
might as well go to Atlanta before you go to Philly. But you got Embiid. Like you
No, you don't. You barely got Embiid. You barely got Paul George. Going to Philly, like, I got to be real here. And nobody expected Philly to be this bad. Philly's not a better situation than Atlanta today. Philly is legitimately falling apart. And what is like, I love Embiid. I think he's one of the best basketball players of his generation, but he ain't healthy enough for you to go there. And Philly going to eat you for lunch, too. You better get your ass to Atlanta where we'll leave you alone.
Or Orlando. They need a backup point guard, don't they?
Yeah. And yeah, they need a point guard, period. But
which
I mean,
would
you're
be
right,
crazy.
But
yep. But so he's in a league of it. The thing with the Falcons, with the Hawks is we have somebody that's in a league of their own on offense in terms of facilitating, and we have somebody that's in a league of their own when it comes to defense. Dyson Daniels hit 100 steals already this season. He leads the league in steals by 30, I believe. I think it's 30. The next person, he's at over 100, and the next person is at like 70 plus. So it's not even close. And he has elevated our entire team's defense just through want to. He's very quick. He's 6'6", so he can get in the way. He plays the passing lanes well. But the thing I noticed, because he did it today a lot, is he'll fake, like if you're trying to dribble away from him, he'll fake like he's going left, but his arms are long enough that he can still reach around, and if you go right, then he's just going to poke the ball away. That is great, and he values deflections. He's awesome. What the hell,
He is
man?
a disruptor. He's he's just like we were talking about basketball players. He is I mean, just like we're talking about people who are just football players like Scatterboo. He's a basketball player. That kid hustles. He plays hard. He actually has a bigger skill set than I originally even believed.
Man,
Um,
does he offensively? He surprises me. He gets
because
downhill
he can
quick.
he gets downhill. He's not a terrible shooter, and when he does shoot, it doesn't look bad. And he got a decent little floater game in there too. And he'll dunk on you if you playing.
Yeah, I think
So
his 3-point shot needs to get more uh needs to become more
consistent.
consistent. But I also he has the floater, but man, he can get to the thing about him, and I didn't mean to cut you off, I apologize. But the thing about him is where he can get to anywhere on the court because he's so tall. So he can get, and he's normally playing guards that are either he's normally we put him on the three. We had him on LeBron and Kawhi.
Yeah.
So
Anybody 1, 2, 3, whoever their best player is, that's his assignment.
and the
And it's
people
not
that
an
guarded
easy
him
day for him.
and the people that guard him are smaller. So he can get to anywhere on the court. I would love for him to like develop a mid range, but I would love for everybody that plays in the basketball today to go back to the mid
Right.
range. But his 3-point shot, he either gonna make it or shoot an air ball. There ain't no in between.
But but this is the thing about it is he's 21 years old. He's 6'7". Like he's like the equivalent of another draft pick. Like this kid,
Mm-hmm.
he's he should have at least two more decent jumps in skill between now and his like peak.
And he's
So
got 6 years of
this is an
development. The peak is normally 27.
exactly, and you don't have in this system. You got one major responsibility, then everything else for you is kind of tertiary. All you really got to do is hustle and play good defense. You got a master facilitator who's going to make your job easier. You have an alien in Jalen Johnson to also still be all. I mean, Jalen Johnson still pass first. He gonna help you play defense. He's a great rebounder already. Excellent rebounder. I ain't gonna say great. Excellent rebounder, and he leads the team in blocks. Yeah, Dyson, this is the right place for you to be, and especially if you can really knock down that open three, you gonna get them.
Yeah.
Especially when Ricochet shot comes around.
Ooh, once Ricochet shot, that's the key. If Ricochet and Daniels can get to 40% three, I know that's a lot thinking, but still. Now
That
you can't
not
you
even
can't
that. 37, 38% is all I need. 4 out of 10
fair.
three is actually rough. That's
Yeah, that's tough. Okay, 3.5, 35 to 30, 38%. Now you can't sag off, which means now our pick and roll is deadly. Like there's nothing you
and it
could do
ain't
there.
even really necessary to threes for me. It's can y'all both get to about 15 points a game. If y'all can get to 15 points a game, boy, now you really, and that's only like extra 4 points a guy. That's like Ricochet is at 10. You can get 1 3 and 1 layup extra a game. And Dyson, you can get two more buckets a game. I don't care how you get them. That changes everything for us in a
Yeah.
big way.
Yeah, we are
And
missing
Quinn
Jalen.
is helping him out. Like Quinn is making him shoot it. He's like, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. He building that confidence. So by the time we're really trying to compete, I think that those guys should be ready, especially since they already play very adult basketball.
Yeah. Now I will say we are missing Jalen Johnson. I don't know.
Desperately.
I don't know what it was. It's not serious, whatever it is. He should be back soon, but he hasn't played the last 2 games, and it's showing. The last game he played, I believe, was against the Lakers. When if you know about the Lakers, when Jalen Johnson plays, he normally dunks all over the Lakers. Whether we win or not is another thing because they have LeBron and AD. We struggle with teams that have players that they can just give the ball to and say, go get a bucket. But every time for the last 4 games now, every time they interview his parents, he dunks. Like every time. And his parents are fantastic. They love him and
And they love it. They
they're
love it.
ecstatic. His dad is the funniest one. So uh the clip is a little bit, but Jalen
No,
Johnson definitely dunked, and his dad was so excited that he grabbed the microphone away from the reporter, Tabitha Ash, and was like, "Nah, he did it again every time. I'm sorry, America." You could see. I like this because you can see how comfortable he is now because Jalen is so good now. Like, you gonna have to be comfortable being interviewed now.
Right. And I think that they know that he's the best person on this team now. When your kid is the best player on the team, you're gonna have a different level of confidence. That's how you end up Paul's grabbing the mic. But yeah, I think that was a really great signing at $30 million a year.
Yeah.
That might end up being the Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna level theft. If you really look at some of these contracts out, you look at people like Jeremy Grant and what they're getting paid, and then you look at what Jalen Johnson's gonna get paid. You're like, how? Why? That don't track. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a decent level of optimism here. The Hawks need people to be healthy, and they need to make some moves. And I think they know that they got to keep the team engaged, and they want to keep the winning. They want to keep the winning going, and I'm sure that they also see what the Falcons did, and it's like, hey man, we don't want to do that. We don't want to find all these guys and then like the leadership not do their part and get people to start asking us questions, or God forbid one of these people who we've like developed or found want out. Like we got to do whatever we can to keep at this point Jalen, Trey, Dyson, and Ricochet locked in together as a group. The everybody else, you kind of get in where you fit in, but those four right there, that's the thing.
I think that they will. I what I've gotten through with this entire year is that with the way that Dyson has played, with the way that they've moved, the coaching moves that they made, with drafting Ricochet when everybody said that we should take Sarr, or I forgot who the other person was. I'm gonna let Landry Fields cook. I'm gonna sit back and
Yes.
just watch. You have earned the right for us to just be quiet. Ricochet is looking like he's going to be first team all rookie. Trey
I ain't gonna
is
say that.
playing well. Why? Who's 5 rookies better than him? You got Dalton Connect.
I mean, no. The Ricochet was a good pick, but we also gave away John Collins, who's the best player in the Utah Jazz.
I mean,
Gave him away.
you held. He inherited that issue. They should have traded John Collins if they were going to do it 3 years ago, right after. When did we go to the Eastern Conference Finals? 2019, 2020.
You're right. Something? You're right. But giving away a player and then him going somewhere else and being the best player on that team, I think that there are other moves we should have made to keep him around.
What's Utah's record?
They're 9 and don't have nothing.
That does 9-25 best player is not the same best player as 18 and
so let me
14
tell you this.
or 23.
You will probably have a dog in the fight if he wasn't playing better than Lauri Markkanen, who's getting paid like $40-50 million a year. John Collins is playing better than Lauri Markkanen, and they're playing next to each other.
They're 9-25. I mean, that's fine. I mean, they're 9-25.
That's because they're not trying to develop. Well, they're trying to develop point guards, I guess, and then they're just trying to use the guys who they got.
So he's in the same issue he was before. Trey was developing when he was ready, and they got rid of him, and they put him with Utah with the same thing.
Now you down there with Isaiah Collier and Colin Sexton and Keontae George. I think they're gonna move him though, and just go with Filipowski. Maybe.
I would love. He's only 6'9", but I'm sold on him being our starting center and bringing Capella off the bench at 7 feet 6'11".
Who?
I think John Collins. I'm sold on that.
Oh yeah,
but I'm not sold on doing business with Danny Ainge either. So, let's talk about 2K. So, Hampton Harbors, 2006 to 2008, 2009ish. 2K was the game. 2 players on 2K, amongst others, that when you started your dynasty, you had to get one of these 2. Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook. Those were the two
Okay, you a
guys.
2K player?
those
Okay,
those were the
okay.
two guys you got, and you would either add them to whoever, right? You would add them. Normally, you could just rock OKC at the time. You just have Kevin Durant, but then you could also make trades or whatever. And I would always at that time put them on the Blazers because the Blazers at the time had a young Nicholas Batum, they had a young Travis Outlaw, they had a young LaMarcus Aldridge, and like they were before all the injuries came, the Blazers were crazy. And you add Russell Westbrook or Derrick Rose to that, and they're amazing, right? So, I bring that up to say, one, Russell Westbrook is trending because he the most by a guard in NBA history. I think he has the most triple doubles, or second most. I think Oscar Robertson was just so far ahead of everybody, but I know he has the most triple doubles in modern basketball. Um, supremely underrated. I don't want to say underrated, but underappreciated. What he's done
Correct.
in the career that he's had is underappreciated. And if he were to ever get, I don't think he has a ring. If he were to ever get a ring, that would just be chef's kiss, which and maybe
Oh
Denver.
man,
So shout out to Derek,
he's a
man. That's
guy who
Derek. Russell.
you you really appreciate. He's a competitor. He's gonna go out every day and give it everything that you want. If you ask him to come off the bench, he came off the bench. You know, he dealt with everything he dealt with playing next to LeBron. Now he's over here in Denver, and I can't remember the coach's last name. Mike is his first name. He loves him to death.
They're the
He
same
speaks
person.
highly of him every game. Yeah, and I mean, Russ ain't leaving that team. I think that's Russ' last stop.
Yeah, I think
I
Russ
feel
fits
very
in
confident
really
that's
well
Russ' last
too.
stop.
He fits in really well. Um,
And when Russ started for the Nuggets, they're like 9-1, 9-2.
he pushes the
So
pace,
I don't think
and
that's the answer. I don't think that's the answer, like long term. But it is when you. I mean, it's a nice luxury to have. I would love to have Russell Westbrook as our backup point guard. Oh,
yeah, and you brought up something about he got away from the Lakers. Russ has been scapegoated ever since he left OKC, and he kind of
he
took
earned
some
some of
blame.
that too. Now
He took some blame for KD leaving and going to Golden State. Um, just Russ has always been a alpha top dog. Like he doesn't like being second fiddle. And in OKC, no matter how
he's an
good you were
aggressor.
playing,
He gonna go out to.
no matter how good you were
He's a
playing, you was
competitor.
number two.
I don't care who you got on this team. Give me my four, and we're gonna go out there. He's very similar to a Jimmy Butler. Just give me them guys, and
Which is
we'll.
why I didn't understand when they were trying to. I was like, "Yo, go get Russell Westbrook." That's who I thought Miami should have gotten, because Russell Westbrook and Jimmy would be menaces. Or I wanted him to go to
Can't
Minnesota
shoot though.
because Russell Westbrook and Anthony Edwards would probably make people cry on the
Yeah.
court. So I was like, "Ooh, woo!" But he
And
landed in Denver.
you let them guys kind of feed off each other, which nobody wants. You
Mm-mm.
don't want Jimmy Butler, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Edwards in any combination feeding off each other's confidence because they are going to scare people.
You ever been in a
They like the
situation
pit
like
bull.
that?
That's like having a pit bull that everybody be like, my dog don't bite, but you be like, that dog will bite me. I know it will.
You said don't bite,
And
but
I
it
ain't trying to
ain't.
get bit.
That dog ain't blinked in 47 seconds. That means it's locked onto
Right.
something. But even in that
It
situation,
don't
like
bite or have bitten anybody yet. Which one is it?
you never want to be in a situation where people feed off each other and get each other mad because in there like, damn, no, I didn't even think this was gonna escalate to where it's about to go. But they done talked each other, man. Now we got to fight. So shout out to Russell Westbrook, man. I think he's got a couple years left. Now he's one of those guys that took care of his body, and he's avoided major injury because he's such a freak athlete. He may be a top 5 athlete of our era. I think
And he's one of the few guys
LeBron is
who
the
could have played
freak.
football.
Yeah, LeBron is the freak. Like 6'8", he could do whatever. I think Russell Westbrook might be like number 2 or 3.
Man, Russell Westbrook used to be just run down there and dunk on your face. And
Him playing
still
safety would have
not
been
really
crazy.
afraid of you.
Nah, he'll fight you
man.
too. He'll fight you too.
Yeah. He'd be dishing out CTE. Russ looked like a target in penalty.
Yeah, they kick him out of the league. Derrick Rose was overcome with emotion after finding out that the Bulls are retiring his jersey. He's had a hell of a week. He retired. Hell of a month. He retired. He then launched his flower shop in downtown Chicago, which was then highlighted on ESPN. Adidas gave him a tribute when he retired, and now the Bulls are retiring his jersey, and he's overcome with emotion. Um, Again, 2K, you couldn't tell us that he wasn't about to be the greatest or one of the greatest point guards and players of all time. Like, I just knew he was going to be in that second top 75, and then he ran into Tibbs. But, you know,
He's in a unique position, and he's a Chicago kid. They did exactly right by him. Love to see this guy getting the love that he gets. He has a beautiful family. The flower pop up shop was dope. And like when I look at players, I look at the guys like the Jalen Greens and the Cade Cunninghams of the world, and like their numbers are like that, but you just wish they played with the same level of like hunger and intensity that D Rose and Westbrook play like, because they're similar, like built,
fire and ice.
and you see what it looks like when a player really goes out every night and gives it everything that they have. And that's two things. That's one thing that both of these guys who we've highlighted, Russ and D Rose, did every night, was they gave you absolutely everything that they could muster
Load
up.
management, my
And
foot. Ain't do none of that.
yeah,
Even though Tibbs, did what he did.
I
Russell,
think that's a
because
good point to
not
wrap.
Russell, Derrick Rose was probably going to get Chicago. Also, since we're talking about Derrick Rose, what he could have done, Melo, I love your podcast. I love it. 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. I love all the stories you bro. You fucked up by not going to Chicago and pairing up with Derrick Rose. That you had two chances to go. You had one chance and you went to New York. Fine, cool. New York fizzled out. Derrick Rose, if I'm not mistaken, was still in Chicago. And they were talking about trading you from New York. And you didn't go. I really, really wish you had gone to Chicago, because you and Derrick Rose would have been with Joe Kim. No, you wouldn't have had to play no defense. You wouldn't have to do nothing. You would have just scored.
You know, Trey is Trey is. We
Four of
need Trey
13.
shot. We need
1 of 8.
18 assists, 2 turnovers. Right.
18 and 18?
Like, correct. Like, bruh, if we could just get you making shots, you might be in the MVP category, but 1 of 8 from three is
Absolutely awful.
it's smoking us right
Speaking
now.
of point guards, there's a point guard that's actually in the Russell Westbrook build named Jaden Ivy. Um, Jaden Ivy, he finally was hitting his stride. This was his third year. The third year guard broke his fibula on a like scramble for a loose ball type thing. And if you remember, he's the one that kind of set the fuse on the powder keg that is Sacramento. He's the one, his play is the one that got Mike Brown fired. Well, got Mike Brown to
Right.
yell at De'Aaron Fox that got him fired. So, I mean, Jaden Ivey in Detroit have something over there. They have Asur Thompson.
Correct.
They have Jaden Ivey. They have Cade Cunningham. And then they got a whole bunch of goons in the front court.
Mm-hmm.
They
ain't gonna make it. They ain't gonna make it. That's the
have
reason
something,
in the
though.
whole scheme of things. Yes, they're kind of very similar to us. You've identified your point guard. You've identified your 2 guard. You've identified your 3 guard. I mean, your small forward. Everybody else on that team, we finna just cut everybody. Go home. Tobias, you can stick around on that little contract you got. Jalen Duren, I think you got to go. We're looking for players now, or you going to the bench. It's that simple. We're looking for guys who can shoot the ball too. We're looking for a new 5, this era center big who can rebound and space the floor. And I think that for me, moving on. I'm moving on. Moving on.
From who? Jaden Ivey?
Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, and then Everybody else may be able to stick around. I like Sasser. Ronald Holland's a rookie. I'm cool with that. But that front, but Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, bench or go home. Bench or go home. That has to be their next move. Is finding a guy who can be like once again everybody like DeAndre Ayton is the answer to everybody's problems except for his own. He prototype, but just soft.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first off, Jaden Ivy, T's and P's, hope you get better. Sucks that you broke your leg.
Man,
I don't want to bury that part, bury that lead. But you're correct. And they, again, if they're willing to trade, now Isaiah Stewart can shoot threes and he's an enforcer. I wouldn't mind having him. Damn, Trey, that's how you feel. I wouldn't mind having him as a backup center, power forward enforcer. He's like
hey,
Solo. He takes Solo spot. All that bumping
yep.
Trey
Hey,
and
hey,
all
hey,
them young
hey.
players.
Yeah, get away from Cade. Get away from him. Get away from him. When I put Isaiah in the game, y'all better act right or get left. Let the
uh,
bodies hit the floor.
yeah, man. So I'm again free agency. We are just here. We gonna probably do some reaction videos. I'm trying to talk Norwood into doing some reaction videos, but when some free agent stuff comes around, we're gonna be ready for it. Somebody
And
made it. Oh,
we're only a month. We're a month away from the trade deadline too, so things are about to heat up. So
yeah, that's what I meant.
be
Trade
cool.
deadline. Somebody on the block finally made their return today. Big Z. Zion made his return today. I don't know how many. 27 games. 27 games he missed.
Bruh.
Zion donated, but before that, he donated $100K to the New Orleans tragedy fund following the attack on Bourbon Street. So that was commendable. Shout out to Zion. But he definitely is now back, and apparently, I'm assuming he's going to be on the trading block. Now his
I don't
contract
care what they do with him.
and his contract stupid.
I'm yes. I'm no longer in the Zion news business because he's always hurt. Like I told y'all, he was when he was coming out of Duke. I am happy that he donated $100,000 to New Orleans. That was an unfortunate situation, and you doing right by the city, who's giving you a ton of money. But Zion on the court, he did a 360 dunk today. I do not care. I do not care. Get in shape. If you're not in shape, then what are we talking about? Because you're not in shape. We've seen that for way too long.
Who hit that three? Bogey? Yeah, that was Bogey. Yeah, so
On
Zion, I mean, I don't know where he ends up. I mean,
I don't care.
he makes too much money to go anywhere. That's the thing about it. He can fit a lot of places. He just makes too much money.
Bust. Bust.
He's getting there.
Predicted bust by Norwood. Now
Predicted
that
bust
was
by
a I told you so.
Jaden Ivy injured. Demon Wimby. Wimby's doing amazing things. He's pulling up for three from everywhere. He pulled up from three twice in a row after bringing the ball down the court. He's had 9 blocks, I think, the other night. He's the fastest to reach everything: points, rebounds, blocks, threes made. Like in the first 100 games of career in the history of the NBA.
Yeah, I told y'all he's a cheat code. Every time I look at him do anything, it's unfair, and it gets more and more unfair by the day. It's really unbelievable and kind of unfair to watch. And you can tell he's still, to a certain degree, learning the game of basketball. And what's scary is he's a chess player, so you know that he has the intelligence and intellect. So once he really starts, and he gets the ability to play with Chris Paul, oh my goodness. And I think there is at least a reasonable chance that Chris Paul ends up coaching that team. Boy. And they have money and assets to flip. When it happens, it's going to happen.
Yep. What else we got? Man, I don't want to talk about it. It's Grayson is
Yeah.
dirty. Is a dirty player.
Thank you guys.
It is what it
Yeah,
is.
thank you
Go
guys
take
for
us out.
rocking with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it has been fun. It's been great. Hopefully, the Hawks close us out here, which will be beautiful. But once again, always remember like, follow, subscribe. Thank you guys for checking in with us on Saturday for Saturday Morning Live, giving us your Monday night to listen to us. And then everybody who catches us on Thursday early in the morning, we truly appreciate it. Number one, number one, number one, number one, number one, number one, more black baseball. Number two, more black cowboys and cowgirls. Number three, historically black college university that you went to, your cousin went to, your auntie went to, or the person used to sit in the back of the church and laugh and kiki and get in trouble. Your mom be like, "Don't you stop doing that." Send some money to that school. They need it. The historically black college university in your neighborhood, the one that you go to for homecoming, step shows, to be around your people, just for the vibes, Black History Month, whatever it is, send some money over there. And then finally, the greatest learning institution in the entire world, the Hampton University. All we ask for is $18.68 on behalf of the year the university was founded. Outside of that, adios, mi amigos. God is love. Me and Reggie appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for stepping into 2025 with the Splashcast. Your HBCU homeboys. We out.
Like, follow, subscribe. Peace. Love y'all.
Until
next time.
What should they do? Like, follow, subscribe. Thank you, my friend. We in for it.